Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about Ralph Ellison's first novel, The Invisible Man, published in 1952. In the prologue, the narrator, speaking to us from his underground hideout in the basement of a whites-only apartment building, reflects about his life as an invisible man. Now in his 40s, he recalls a time when he was a naive, young man, eager to become a renowned educator and orator. The narrator begins his story by recalling his high school graduation speech, which attracted the attention of the white school superintendent, who invites him to give the same speech at a local hotel to the town's leading white citizens. But when he arrives at the hotel, the narrator is forced to participate in a brutal blindfolded boxing match, the Battle Royale, with 9 of his classmates, an event which he discovers is part of the evening's entertaining for the smoker. The boxing match is followed by a humiliating event. The boys must scramble for what appears to be a golden coin on an electrified rug. Then, the narrator, now bruised and bleeding, is finally allowed to give his speech in front of the drunken white man, who largely ignore him until he accidentally uses the phrase social equality instead of social responsibility. At the end of this speech, the narrator proudly accepts his prize, a briefcase containing a scholarship to the state college. When he opens it, the briefcase did not contain the scholarship, but a note insulting him. For the next 20 years of his life, the narrator stumbles blindly through life, never stopping to question why he is always kept running by people who profess to guide and direct him, but who ultimately exploit him and betray his trust. Focusing on the events of one fateful day, the narrator then recalls his college days. Assigned to chauffeur Mr. Norton, a prominent white visiting trustee around the campus, the narrator follows Miss Norton's order and takes him to visit 2 sites in the nearby black neighborhood: the cabin of Jim Trueblood, a local sharecropper, and the Golden Bay, a bar. However, the narrator is expelled from his beloved college for taking Mr. Norton to these places and sent to New York, armed with 7 letters from his dean. The letters, he believed, are letters of recommendation, but are in reality letters confirming his expulsion. Arriving in New York, the narrator is amazed by what he perceives to be unlimited freedom for black people. He is especially intrigued by a West Indian man, whom he first encounters addressing a group of men and women on the streets of Harlem, urging them to work together to unite their community. But the narrator's excitement soon turns to disillusionment as he discovers that North presents the same barriers to achievement as the South. Realizing that he cannot return to college, the narrator accepts a job at a paint factory famous for its optic white paint, unaware that he is one of the several colored people hired to replace white workers out on strike. Nearly killed in a factory explosion, the narrator subsequently undergoes a grueling ordeal at the paint factory hospital, where he finds himself the object of a strange experiment by the hospital white doctors. Following his release from the hospital, the narrator finds refuge in the home of Mary Rambo, a kind and generous colored woman who feeds him and nurses him back to health. Although grateful to Mary, whom he acknowledges as his only friend, the narrator eventually leaves her to join the Brotherhood, a political organization that professes to be dedicated to achieving equality for all people. Under the guidance of the Brotherhood and its leader, Brother Jack, the narrator becomes an accomplished speaker and leader of the Harlem district. But after the tragic death of his friend Todd Clifton, a charismatic young brother who is shot by a white policeman, the narrator becomes disillusioned by the disparity between what the organization preaches and what its leader practices. As a result, he decides to leave the Brotherhood and returns to Harlem, where he is confronted by Ras the Exhorter, who accuses him of betraying the community. To escape the wrath of Ras and his men, the narrator disguises himself by donning a hat and dark glasses. In disguise, he is repeatedly mistaken for someone named Reinhardt, a con man who uses his invisibility to his own advantage. The narrator discovers that the Harlem community has erupted in violence. Eager to demonstrate that he is no longer part of the Brotherhood, the narrator allows himself to be drawn into the violence and chaos of the Harlem riot and participates in the burning of a Harlem tenement. Later, as he flees the scene of the burning building and tries to find his way back to Mary's, two white men with baseball bats pursue him. To escape, he leaps into a manhole, which lands him in his underground hideout. For the next several days, the sick and delusional narrator suffers horrific nightmares in which he is captured and castrated by a group of men led by Brother Jack. Finally able to let go of his painful past, symbolized by the various items in his briefcase, the narrator discovers that writing down his experience enables him to release his hatred and rediscover his love of life. The lesson that we can take from this novel is that we should never discriminate anyone based on race or any other criteria, and we should all live as what we are, humans. We hope you enjoyed our video, and we invite you to share your opinions with us in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to catch the new videos.